Welcome to the hashtag Thorhighheels 2020 Game Awards, sponsored by Instagram and Oculus Rift by Facebook, as well as Twitch. Get free Amazon Prime along with your timed ninja-themed Fortnite drop. Here to announce our first award is a person from the movie industry that validates our art form because we're too cowardly to wave a flag of our own. Hey, I'm Keanu Reeves. Shout out to noted transphobes and gulag-brained crunch cretins CD Projekt Red for making this possible. I love video games. And the nominees for Best Video Game Performance are Keanu Reeves as Neil Truckman in The Last of Us 2, Keanu Reeves as Cyberpunk in Cyberpunk 2, Keanu Reeves as Cloud in Final Fantasy VII 2, and Yoshida from Moon Remix RPG. Now, I'm never cynical, certainly not on this channel. I can be negative and dislike stuff. I can point things out I think are problematic or shitty about a game's content or some shit in the industry, but I always try to give things a positive spin. But, I'm gonna be real, I felt my soul die while watching the Game Awards. I love video games, I really do, but I hate this industry so much. It is dead. Cold, cynical, loud, and soulless, so lacking in any self-awareness that it's become a complete and total modern corporate sociopathic, unempathetic nerd hellscape. I genuinely despise it. It makes me feel a deep and seething cynicism. Yeah, Smash Bros. Game Pass now on Disney Plus, sponsored by Facebook Gaming, Loud Music, iPhone tracking. Black trans lives matter. We believe in diversity. We really do. Here at Video Games, we super care. Don't look at the chat though. Do not look at the chat. That is not who we are, because we are gamers. And we like Whooper, Epic Games, Ninja in Halo, Fortnite in Ninja, actor from popular property, CD Projekt Red, and a loud and beating never-ending barrage of garbage with the same art styles and trailer musics, and don't look at the chat. I feel like this is what it's like to be inside of Steve Jobs' head. And he's fucking dead. Yeah, good for him though. Good for him. This game, however, season, genuinely fucking amazing. Otherwise, just fuck every accomplice to this sick parade of capitalism flailing soullessly funded garbage made by dead-eyed overworked people at you while it's not even fucking finished. Which brings me to my award show, the better one, the good one. I got snazzy sneakers too, just like Jeff, only I don't wear a suit, cause suits are for cops. Fuck suits. And I got the following categories. Best video game OST I've heard this year, coolest art style, bestinest video game environment, some non-gaming shit, and of course, game of the year. And unlike Hefe's corporate cum dumpster sponsored by Instagram's Pokemon Go's Ninja's Gym with free Bezos bits, I'll actually talk about these things and appreciate them and say some stuff worth a fucking damn. So, Harold, you dumb bitch, roll the goddamn intro. So, best video game OST I've heard this year. Not necessarily from a game that came out this year, cause I'm gonna be real, Moon had some slapping bangers, but is technically a game from the 90s, and otherwise there wasn't much. FF7R had some great music. That'd be the winner if I had to pick a game from this year, and I don't know, Deadly Premonition 2 had some okay music, like 4 whole songs of it, but I wouldn't say that either really left much of a lasting impact on me. So we're left with the olds, the ancients, and the stankiest of games. Demon's Souls is a game that I'd first played this year, which, while not exactly outside of the game listening type music, was pretty fucking bizarre and cool. Something about going through a fog door for the first time, getting your ass clobbered by the big boy and hearing ha 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 as you die is quite magical. This game got some boss music that ain't really nothing like standard boss music. Now, of course, the remake of it that came out this year sounds like cheap Lord of the Rings knockoff music and looks like a Magic the Gathering card, but I don't know, that just kinda is how it is, really. I also played a bunch of Saturn titles, and goddamn, 90s Sega was fucking packing. Fighters Megamix hasn't only crept its way to the top of my all-time favorite fighters pretty much instantly, but its music is GOAT. In fact, you're hearing it right now. It's funky, groovy, effortlessly blends jazz fusion, butt rock, and heavy metal with the newest of, at the time, electronic music genres, because that's just the sounds that they were working with. It's quite amazing, and I've been bopping this track on the regular. Also, Daytona was pretty slamming, but y'all know I know that, and Lunacy's hauntingly cold synth tunes absolutely nutted. Also, goddamn Critical Velocity. That game has like 4 songs and they're all versions of the same one song, but gosh golly, what a song it was. None of these, though, are quite my favorite. You need to really like change my whole views on music and how I make it to do that, and that's quite a rare experience, especially as you get older, but I was not ready for motherfucking Evergrace. Yeah, this is it. Well, not just this, I played through a ton of FromSoft games and I defo napped some piano playstyles from Enchanted Arms. Or the jank-ass programming of the Armored Cores. These influences can be heard on the Umurangi Generation Macro OST. But Evergrace fucking altered my brain. I've spoken at length about what it is and what it do when I did, so I won't do it again, and besides, you can hear. But what I didn't know at the time was how much it would stick with me afterwards. I've been listening to it very regularly. It spawned memes in various discords, including my own. Some of my homies started making cool music inspired by it too, and it more or less instantly impacted how I'd go on to view things like quantization, aka shit being computer gridlocked with robotic precision, as this is beyond loosey-goosey. Song structure, rhythm, conventional melody, how you apply and cut samples, what roles of instruments and vocals are. This OST shatters and questions all of the conventions relating to those things. Hearing it was liberating. I've never been one to fit shit into boxes or stick to any rules or standards other than my own, but Evergrace validated and strengthened my beliefs on that shit something fierce. It even led me down a path of being way more experimental with my own music and seeking out some other weird game shit. Like, you ever heard of Front Mission Alternative? I fucking love this. Or Sonic Brotherhood's OST. Fucking love this now too. Or goddamn Street Fighter 1's FM synthesis Gameland music. Bruh. Really, Everboy may have single-handedly ruined my taste in music for good. I'm not ruling it out. But regardless, it is, for sure, my favorite video game soundtrack of 2020, and probably of a whole bunch of other years too, whatever that even means. And here to present the Best in This Art Style Award is Amazon's very own Jeff Bezos. I don't actually know what Jeff Bezos sounds like, so I can't really do a voice for him. But aha! Got you, motherfucker! Pay your goddamn taxes, cunt! Off to space jail you go! Evergrace is definitely up there too, with its green sky autumn, but it ain't it. And it's not the stanky legs of Before Crisis either, though those certainly are close, but my favorite art style of 2020 is Moon, combining both round as fuck 90s CG pre-renders, quirky, crooked, yet cute hand-drawn character art, and freaky, funky claymation, culminating in a game that looks more like a scrappy, scraped-together first-time amateur effort than any hardcore considered deliberate artistic venture. adventure? Mainly because it is. It's Love the Lick's first game after all, and so they didn't quite know what they were doing and just did everything and followed their hearts. And said hearts is defo what got put into this game. Sweet characters, sweet music, sweet vibes, it's just one big wholesomeness offensive, which shows in how the game looks too. The way the characters animate with care, or how cute and handcrafted all of the environments are, and how adorbs the monsters be, and all of its little directed events like going to school with Yoshida and getting drugged up by monkeys and flying past the drum god, or helping out the struggling guitar homie, all brought to life part and partial by its visuals. And I mean, hey, Moon's art style is so legendary and unique that it ain't really unique anymore, as it inspired whole genres, series, and studios from Tulip, Indonesia, and Giftpia to the Tingle RPGs, Chibi Robo, and the seminal Grasshopper Bopper Contact. Also all utilizing a scrappy, grab-baggy approach to art. Fucking Contact with its 2 art styles and 2 screens, Tulip looking like a cacophony of toys that don't fit together, and Indonesia simply looking like Moon 2. It's super sweet and neat, defo one of my highlights of 2020 in general, and moreover, quite the odd little looker. I'm a pretty big dickin' stickler for video game environments. So much so that when I started working on my own video game earlier this year, I knocked out well over half of its areas in a matter of weeks. Finally, all of my walking, camera panning, obsessing over assets like the table decorations in FF12 or the storefronts in the Yakuza games or the butterflies and drippy drips of Crash began to pay off. I was, perhaps, where I always wanted to be. Town making, asset creating, building, lightin', and alleyways sculpting. Not nearly done yet though, mainly because I've been busy this year with both this shit and Umurangi, but things certainly clicked for me when I started making my own video game locales, and man, goddamn, did this year have some good ones. Haven't played Yakuza 7 yet, but you best believe that I will gush and nut all over Yokohama once I will very soon. But even just like the little things in other games, like this really neat, lush, near photorealistic, rainy, rusty stairwell in The Last of Us 2, or the dingy little canals and high-up alleyway-esque outcroppings of Disaster Report 4, are both wonderful little moments of handcrafted screenshot spaces that have left their mark on me for sure. Even the frame rate issued and glitch-ridden dumpster fire that is Deadly Premonition 2 still wowed with its wholesomely warm and cozy artificiality. It ain't real for shit, but fuck if I wouldn't go there IRL if I could. As if a horrible, disastrous holiday in which everything went wrong, inundated with swamp crotch, mosquito bites, lost property, and plans that all fell through, that still, somehow, against all odds, made for the fondest memories later down the line. That's what DP2 is, I think. Speaking of holidays, though, you ever took a trip to West City, cruised around in its cars, or spent time high-flying past its giant bright white buildings collecting these things? Well, that's what DBZ Kakarot did. A game maybe a bit too cheap for its own good and also wasn't paced particularly well, gonna be honest, but damn it if it didn't love just being in Dragon Ball World. I grew up with DBZ and always wanted to see more of its world than what both the show and many of its games were ever willing to give, and Kakarot gave me that. Not in as much detail as I would have liked, sure, but that still didn't stop me from loving my time spent in it all the same. Whether if it was camping out in Dino Town with Yajirobe all cozy, or exploring Nam's Town after Z had long forgotten the dude ever existed, shit was pretty fucking cool for what it was. And yet, none of these are my favorite environments, because, while cute little one-off vibe vignettes are cool and rough approximations of big worlds are fun or funny, none can match with the big dick daddy of JRPG towns that is Midgar. Very unexpected choice from someone who's made 3 videos more or less on this place alone, not to mention multiple videos on Dirge's Cerberus, I know. But I can't not like what I love neither, and Midgar is most definitely that. As I adore the original more than most things in life, I dig Crisis Core's slightly off yet cool PSP-ness version, and I even like the spooky horror-esque Dirge version too. But 7R's take on it feels more like a fusion of all of them. It do the spooky in the trains a la Dirge, it has the slightly less Escape from New York ass punk-ridden top-plate vibes of CC, and a pretty faithful expanded dumpster diving realm by way of the OG, just far more open and scalish and bright. There's plants now and beautiful skyboxes, don't look at the awkward ones, and whole hallways of trash caves. It doesn't so much change the integrity of it as much as it just colors in the off-screen mentioned insinuateds and alluded to. That part near 7th Heaven, blocked off by a sign, gives way to a cool little wasteland now. The abrupt screen transition from Scumfuck to Aerith Garden now has its own gradual plantification path. Things that were just mere one-off screen backgrounds like the trash pile jump around or the Wii one-off train puzzle or the sewer are whole fun dungeons of exploration, treasure, cool combat, and broken pacing. I don't really want to repeat what I said in my video dedicated to it, well, the multiple videos I guess, but I loved everything about the wall market, the signs, the alleyways, the lighting, the dynamic music, the people, and they somehow seemed to be the only motherfucker on the planet who actually kinda liked the side quests, which gave a lot of purpose to the off-screen exploration, and even a little bit of world and character building as a result. I do kinda dislike how asset store-y many of the NPCs feel, but even that ain't always the case, and generally I just enjoy walking around here and looking at stuff. I do that in all games, fair, but as a result, I also know which games really stick out for that purpose too. And so, FF7R's expanded fanservice-y version of Midgar is by far and away my favorite video game place of 2020. 2020 was not a good year. A pandemic alone would have been bad and depressing enough, but when combined with shit leadership and rising political tensions all around the world, exacerbated by the magnifying glass Clockwork Orange eye theater that is social media, it became quite a unique brand of miserable. People dying, losing jobs, homes, spending days protesting while getting slandered from all sides. Folks getting caught up in conspiracy theories as they desperately try to find anything to hold on to gain some type of clarity in the midst of it all. It's pretty fucked up. And yet, for me, 2020, I think, was one of the best years of my life. I had my own place for the first time. I had PTSD-free days for the first time in my life. I've been more creative than at any point before, as I've done cool videos with friends, guested on live streams and podcasts. I've been healthier physically and mentally. I've been being more social and have felt more loved than I've had in any point prior to. And a lot of that genuinely comes from me finally taking the big plunge and properly using a Patreon. Like, I've been homeless, I've seen tons of violence and other horrible things, I've lived in nothing but miserable flats and rundown houses and ghettos for the entirety of my existence, until this year. Well, I moved here late 2019, granted, but I don't think I would have been able to live here comfortably, if at all, if my financial life didn't take such a turn. And I ain't rich by any stretch, but my bar is so fucking low that just being able to, pay a bill without a whole life's worth of secondhand anxiety plummeting down upon me is quite nice. Like I said, I've been more social. I have my own place. I no longer live in fear of my current environment. I have a home. I can jump into calls with folks when invited. I have my stupid Discord now where I get made fun of on the daily. And I've been able to reliably maintain relationships with people due to not being a fucking anxious wreck 24/7. Umurangi would not have happened for me as it did if the opportunity had opened up in any prior year, as I would almost certainly have chickened out for some dumb fuck shit ass reason wholly outside of my control. So, yeah, thanks a lot, motherfuckers. Shit like that, though, is why it's maybe good to talk about things other than video games. Jeff might want to deny the world around him in his gamer prism, but I can call out crunch culture. Fuck crunch culture. And I can also talk about some real shit. Stuff might not be gaming related to y'all, but it defo inspires gaming related things for me or entices my brain in a similar way. Games, at the end of the day, are more or less an amalgam of all other art forms and whatever their cultural context is, so, music. I'm not much of an album person because I have no patience and also my tastes are fucky as expressed, which makes it rare that anyone caters to them consistently in any capacity, so I only have favorite songs, but in a playlist even. This whole year, I've kept up a public Spotify playlist of every song that I heard that I liked. Its order is in foundage rather than likeage, but if I'd have to pick some faves, it's for sure Hidden Death by Quell Chris, because it makes me happy. 9 to 5 by Adam Snow, Freddie Gibbs, and Teddy Andreas says it was one of the chillest summertime walk songs. Rolled Up by Benny Sings and Mac DeMarco, because it also makes me very happy and I support a Dutch legend. Okra by Eugen Blackrock, because it's a really strong, vibey, heady, good, rapidy-ass rap music song. And finally, there's Demon Time by Lil Boat and Draft Day, because sometimes you just want something to go stupid and dummy hard, and this goes stupid and dummy hard. Without these tracks, my year wouldn't be half as vibey as it was, nor would my output have been anywhere near as good as it was neither. Whether it's videos, my music, the game that I'm working on, or the Umurangi OST, it's all connected in some way. Vibes are waves, and those patterns are bound to intersect when they're close enough, you know? Anyway, I don't watch TV shows, so I can't mention those, nor have I seen any new movies, and that's not just because there weren't any, but because I haven't been to a movie theater since about 2009, I think. But I did watch these with my besties Stone and Devin, aka El Target and Wild Potato on YouTube, and at least one of these films inspired some shit. God, you guys, you can't even make a joke without people getting offended these days. People take things way too seriously now and are triggered. Comedy is ruined. Yeah, how about fuck you, fucko? Comedians are just bitches and boomers. If you can't trust one of these cunts to keep his cock in his pants, then why even listen to any of the others? So I do kind of get it sometimes. I make one joke, one good-ass joke, which is also, the Chad Konami sound team greatly outshines the Virgin Vangelis and his wispy 80s synth garbage with some amazing Sega CD And suddenly you got motherfuckers thinking that I hated Blade Runner despite the fact that I went through great length to say what I liked about it, including the music just a bit before, but fuck that, I guess. Fuck listening. Fuck sense. Fuck you. But nah, I get it. You don't know me, and I'd be the last person to pay attention to anything anyone says, so it's fine. Though, no, I did not dislike Blade Runner. Glad I could clear that up. It was cool though. Rapey protag and shitty story aside, the film leaves a lot of openings for inspo, and so inspo it did. Midgar, Kowloon's Gate, Kojima Code, that movie sure left its mark, and seeing it for the first time in 2020 was pretty funny because I saw that influence play out in reverse. I even took a bit of a cue from it myself. That music that plays as Indiana Solo part-time makes his way into that little fucking... I don't remember what it was. There were some bitches and smoky vibes, and I think it was either a market or some type of backstage area. But the music that plays there was very cool, and it reminded me a lot of Kowloon's Gate, which has a soundtrack that's almost entirely like that. And if you've been following along with my own game, you'll know that I took from that. So thanks, Blade Runner, you fucking piece of shit. The Game of the Year award is sponsored by Build It Yourself. Build It Yourself lets you construct your own games. We simply send you the parts and you build it yourself. Wow. Now, the time is here for Game of the Year, and these is the games that I've played. Rainy Season, Umurangi Generation, Suda 51's RGB, DBZ, Kakarot, FF7R, RE3 Make, Disaster Report 4, The Last of Us 2, Deadly Premonition 2, and Moon. Now, Moon is technically ancient, so I can't count that, but it is amazing. Rainy Season is really short and good, but it's more of a cute little bite-sized cool thing than a proper GOAT game. Umurangi is a conflict of interest, but legit quite cool. I dig it, as a penguin in it. Suda's RGB is barely a game and technically a book, and books are evil and stinky. Kakarot was fun, but a bit of a 7 out of 10 type experience, if you know what I mean. RE3 was similarly mediocre, though in a wholly different way. FF7R was great and a strong second place, and I've almost certainly play it again sometime. Last of Us 2 was pretty good, but a crunch game should not be eligible for a Game of the Year award. And Deadly Premonition 2 was transphobic and kind of a fucking disaster, but I still liked it, though I'd be lying if I said that I've thought much about it, if at all, ever since. As apparently, surprisingly, even to me, my Game of the Year is the Disaster Report 4. Yeah, the far lesser sequel to one of my favorite games, which itself has a prequel that may also be even better. Certainly funnier, but A, neither of those games came out in 2020, and B, neither of those games came out in 2020. This is like the Disaster Report we have at home sort of thing. But much like shitty oven pizza or cheap ramen noodles, you can't help but sometimes love it either way. Yet, I did. I really did. That flat section may have been tedious, but it's also one of the coolest looking places in the game because I have a weird affinity towards flats given that I grew up in and around them, and otherwise I just love the slow, adventure-gamey, character-driven, variety-filled, location-rich, big, dumb, personal adventure with hijinks that is Disaster Report 4. I mean, how many games see you rescuing a granny 1 minute and leading your own cult in the next? How many games have whole live levels being destroyed in real time? Well, you even get goddamn kidnapped into human trafficking depending on which route you take. Shit's nuts. And even despite that, it's also a very sweet and heartfelt sort of passion project type game. About life carrying on, or trying to at least, in the midst of a massive disaster. Thieves still be thieving, artists still be artin', horn dogs still be hornin', and yeah, fuck it, why not wear a chef's hat? Everything's fucked anyway. Actually gave half of a fuck about its characters and Wii scenarios too. It's not as sweet as Raw Danger or as funny as the first, but it has vibes for days and tons of variety in its settings and events. It's legit pretty cool. And that's all I have to say about it, I think. I mean, I have a whole video dedicated just to it, so watch that if you want to know more, or just like buy it and shit. It's a very 2020 game, definitely. It's jank, broken, frustrating at times. It feels like it takes too long, and as I said, it's literally about what we're all trying to do now, and captures that zeitgeisty, working together while a few scum cunts try to screw everything over vibe that has tainted this whole year. It's a good game, and yeah. All I wanted this video to be was a celebration of video games as an art form and a condemnation of video games as an industry.